If you're someone for whom a day hardly goes by without you daydreaming, then this video is for you. And the reason why I say this is because I am speaking from my own experience. You see, ever since I was able to put two and two together, literally, I've always been more of a fantasizer than a doer. When I was a kid, I would pretend that I am hanging out with my friends, doing all sorts of fun and, to be honest, stupid things that a kid would give anything to do, and being cool. The punchline is that none of those things that I laid down on my back and fantasized about ended up happening in real life. Even to this day, it's very hard for me to go through a day without teleporting myself to the dreamland. So, why is it that it is very difficult for me, and if you're still watching this, for you to stop daydreaming? And is daydreaming a bad thing? My answer, right out of the gate, would be that no, daydreaming is not a bad thing. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we are able to build what we've built and why we've got to where we are today. But there's also such a thing as too much daydreaming, and it is this that I want to talk about. First, I have to do a little bit of self expression. You see, even though I've been a frequenter of the dreamland ever since I can remember, it took quite a while for the thought that I should examine my fantasies to cross my mind. Nonetheless, when the thought finally occurred to me, I did not hesitate. Knowing that nothing useful or tangible would come out as a result of me daydreaming 24/7, I applied myself to analyzing my fantasies, and I discovered two things about myself. The first is that there are certain themes that would show up time and again in almost every single one of my fantasies, and the second is that more often than not, I was daydreaming as a form of coping, as a mean of running away from things. In my fantasies, I would always imagine myself to be an elder brother figure or a father figure. Someone who is strong, reliable, trustworthy, protective, courageous, caring, kind, and positive adjectives like those. Never in my lifetime of daydreaming had I ever imagined myself as a helpless and hopeless little weasel. And that's when I realized that my fantasies are portraying what I want, or rather, what I lack. With that realization, I was able to see that I was daydreaming so as to enjoy, at least mentally, the sweet and juicy fruits of life that I know would be extremely difficult and improbable for me to savor in real life. It was quite disheartening. Suffice to say that the day I figured that out was not a happy one. Sometimes we daydream about fantasies, like imagining ourselves to be a superhero who saves the world, or imagining we will find the one someday with whom we will laugh and cry and smile and do silly things and breathe breaths of love and contentment till we are gray and old. Just kidding. And sometimes we daydream about dreams, which are our goals, such as that car that we can't wait to get behind the wheel of, that job we want to land, that dance move we want to master, that house we want to live in, so on and so forth. I mean, we've all been in that situation where we would study for 5 minutes and then spend the rest of the study session daydreaming about success and wealth and fame and all that kind of stuff. What if our fantasies, our daydreams that we seek solace in, are gradually poisoning us and eroding us without us realizing? I truly believe that those of us who visit the dreamland on a day-to-day basis do so because we are addicted to daydreaming. It's just that we aren't aware of our addiction. One of the ways that daydreaming does us a disservice is by making us addicted to the activity. Much worse than this is that it can make us fall in love with our own fantasies. When we fall in love with our fantasies, everything that doesn't remotely resemble our fantasies is a disappointment, including reality. Another point that I want to make is that daydreaming has a nasty way of making your dreams your master, rather than making you the master of your dreams. What I mean by that is daydreaming has a way of getting between you and your goals. When you spend more time daydreaming about your goals than walking towards them, that's a sure sign that you are the slave and not the master. Don't fall prey to enslaving yourself to your dreams because dreams don't walk unless you do. This doesn't mean that you should stop daydreaming. At least for me, I know that I won't be able to stop daydreaming and that I won't stop daydreaming. Daydreaming is a feature, not a bug, and it is the dose that makes the poison. It is important to realize that daydreaming itself is a wonderful thing. However, as wonderful as it can be detrimental when used or abused excessively. If you're spending more time in the imaginary world than you are in the real world, it might be helpful to take a closer look at yourself and your life. After all, daydreaming should only be a temporary refuge, not a permanent residence.